Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
RoadToRuta.com. We are on the absolute brink of silver busting through finally after 180 years of price suppression. Everything is looking good for this blast off. Once it hits 50, it's gone. Right now, all the tech guys are coming out saying, wow, there's really no resistance between 40 and 50. Of course there's no resistance. $50 was an artificial cap, started in 1980 and then again in 2011. Both were artificial caps on the price of silver to control that system. Now everybody knows what they did and how they do it and why they're doing it. So yeah, if you want silver, if you want physical silver and you're a manufacturer, I mean, what came out the last couple of days about how much solar has actually been installed so far this year, up 67%. I can't wait to hear what the Silver Institute and Metals Focus, how they're going to lie about silver consumption in solar this year. I mean, they did it so blatantly last time in 2023. It was ridiculous. They had, in the Silver Institute's report, they had silver going up, the demand side going up like a 1.5%, 1%, 2%, something so ridiculous and so embarrassing for that institution. I don't even know why they're still going. Well, I do know. The bankers pay their salaries. So, yeah, it's ridiculous. We will do probably 450 million ounces of silver in solar this year. The fact that more silver is being used, and they're saying these new technologies are really taking a lot of the silver out of the solar panels. These new technologies, they're not even been implemented yet. They're that new. I just went through a whole grok session asking, well, when will these technologies be implemented? Now, probably by 2030, they might start to get full implementation. Right now, they're about 20% implemented. But the Silver Institute and Metals Focus figures, no one's going to know. Who's going to know? We're going to keep the price of silver under wraps. That's fake news. Fake news, fake news, fake news. And anybody who listens to, and I know I haven't talked about this in a long time, Kitco loves to put out fake news. That's why Jeffrey Christian's one of their ongoing guys. Fake news. Kitco is fake news. It's insane. So they published Jeffrey Christian. Well, his YouTube site doesn't have many followers, so nobody really listens to him. And you know when the bankers are in trouble, they'll send Jeffrey Christian out there to try to poo-poo everything. And this was about the USGS critical metal stuff. Yes, of course, silver's the most critical of all. And what Jeff doesn't talk about, and what nobody seems to be talking about, is in times of war, historically, silver comes back as a monetary metal. Hello, New York. Absolutely. If you go to roadtoruta.com, let me help you guys out. Because Jeffrey said, nobody cares. The military doesn't care about silver. Nobody cares about silver. It's such a joke. He's so pathetic, it's embarrassing. Go to the blog area. Go to the blog and look at the educational resources. Has all kinds of reports on the Grand Canyon gold, 9/11 gold, what happened to that, silver contracts explained. That's pretty cool. Bitcoin's paper, history of Bitcoin, all kinds of great stuff. But you keep going down past the Road to Ruta documents and what happened on 9/11, and you get down here to the U.S. military silver analysis. And Jeffrey can say whatever the hell he wants. How the military doesn't use any silver, and silver, nobody cares about silver. He can say whatever he wants. Listen to, there's 3 reports that are attached here. One is from 1978/79 that says we want to get rid of the military, get rid of the stockpile of 139 million ounces because we don't need it. The military doesn't, nobody needs it. In actuality, we were running out of silver and they needed to tamp down the price. But so they released this report by the Comptroller General, and the report said it just said we agree it needs to be reassessed and we need to get rid of it. And then all of a sudden it just blew up in Congress, and the Comptroller General of the United States had to issue another report just 2 years later completely rebutting the old report. National defense related silver needs should be reevaluated and alternative disposal methods explored. And it's a gigantic thing. And then they came out with the real doozy: unresolved issues concerning the disposal of the stockpile of silver. Now, Jeffrey in his video says, "Oh yeah, we got rid of the military stockpile. We didn't need it." That is not even close to what the final report said. Here, listen to this. Here's a real brief summary. The fiscal year 1982 Defense Appropriations Act suspended the weekly auctions of stockpile silver, pending a recommendation that the silver be disposed of is excess to stockpile requirements and congressional approval of any proposed disposal method. In the interim, comments by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Department of Defense on January 11, 1982, GAO raised new issues that GAO believes must be addressed and resolved in reevaluating the need for the stockpile of silver in exploring alternative disposals. Unresolved issues: lack of consideration of defense-related monetary uses of silver. That should be obvious to anybody and everybody on the planet other than Jeffrey Christian and the deep state. Inadequacies to the decision-making database related to legislatively mandated supply factors. They're basically saying, no, it is not surplus. It is 100,000 million% important to have silver, especially during times of war. Lack of consideration of the estimated cost of alternative sources of silver and the impact of proposed disposal methods and the viability of various alternative disposal methods such as bullion coins and convertible bonds backed by silver. Ultimately, they decided, you know what? If we got to get rid of it because it was congressionally mandated, we'll do it in the Silver Eagle program. And Jeffrey's saying, oh, yeah, I was involved in setting that up. I structured. He's so full of shit. Guy is just. You know who else said that to me? Mike DiRenzo, the head of the only guy who works at the Silver Institute. They're a couple of jackasses who have been working together for so long, and they're fake news. That's the only thing they're good for, fake news. It's embarrassing and ridiculous. Anyway, silver's doing great. Hang on to your silver. Get as much as you can. If you haven't bought in the last couple weeks or months, buy. Buy. This game is almost over. When the Commitment of Trader report come out, you're going to see commercials are not shorting into this rise. They just aren't. They haven't yet. Will they later? I don't know. I don't know if they can. And if they can't, who is going to take that short side? Who else would take it? The government? Maybe. Maybe the government's already there. I don't know. Silver's at $41.20. Nice, strong move. Of course, we're talking about still less than its 1980 high, which is crazy, which is absolutely insane. 88-1 gold-silver ratio. That is going to get blown out of the water. I hope you guys, if you have any gold at all, swap it for silver. Absolutely. Every ounce. I don't know if this table is actually any good anymore. This is the moving averages. This is for the past 50 years. This is how the deep state and the silver riggers have been rigging the price of silver using futures and options and playing the tech funds off the moving averages. Now all the tech funds are saying, we're in unknown territory. We don't know where anything's going other than when it hits $50, and then it's completely blue sky. Nobody has any tech analysis after that. Here's the latest tech analysis I saw on Money Metals. Silver update, special report, major breakout and melt up alert. They went through all the supports and flags and supposedly double cup and handle thing, all that stuff, all the games that are played over time. The mind wants to see patterns and things, so the tech people, that's what they do. And then it gets other people to do it, so it kind of helps along. If it helps anybody, it helps the riggers because they play off that. But everything's saying it's got support in 33 to 35 and just blows sky high. And then after 50, nobody knows. The bowl handle. Here's the bowl handle for the last 10 years. Or 6 years. 7 years. Now only has to clear resistance at the 2011 all-time highs. which was $50 intraday. So lots of upside on the MACD. All the tech traders are saying, wahoo! Look at that. The cup and handle base. I heard someone saying it's a double cup and handle. Whatever. I mean, I can draw pictures with lines too. But yeah, Clyde Mauve loves to do this. It's like what's his name? Bo Pony reading the Bible and saying, "Oh, this date is exactly what's going to happen." And then, I mean, I don't know why nobody ever says, "Bo, you're telling us what God is saying, and then you get it wrong 90% of the time." Is that really what we're supposed to be listening to you? Are you faking what God's saying, or does God change his mind every time just to fuck with us? Oh, Bo. Anyway, this is I kind of stopped looking at solar, the amount of silver used in solar after the 2023 hit job by the Silver Institute, when they only published about half of what really got used in solar, and they had to go back and change historical numbers, and I called them out on that. So I have stopped looking at it, and I thought, solar would kind of peter out a little bit, just, give us 20% growth and things like that, which is kind of maybe possible, and with everything going on in the technology of solar panels, that they can make up that in thrifting, but not even close, really. And by the way, all this new technology, only 10 to 20% of that has been installed in the new manufacturing lines. That's the other. It takes 3 to 5 years for this stuff to get into the line. And one of them has copper in it, which we all know is corrosive and won't even last the guaranteed time of the solar panel guarantee, which is 20 to 25 years. They're usually good for 30 years, 35 maybe, but the technology leapfrogs. Anyway, look at this. Look at this. 64% jump in the first half of 2025. That's just shocking. It should be shocking to everybody. Even the people who are very bullish on solar installations. I mean, everybody got this so ridiculously wrong. I mean, even Bloomberg, BEF, their energy side, who was the leading expert in the mainstream, Jenny Chase is her name. She had only like 700 gigawatts for the whole year, and that was a stretch. It was like, holy mac, I'll show you. Maybe. So right here, yeah, this is their latest. It was going to be 698. Well, with this growth, and if it continues, which it looks like it is, we'll be up at 950 a terawatt, which is way off. An increase of 100 gigawatts is actually going to be an increase of 300 gigawatts. That's just crazy. And that's massive amounts of silver that the Silver Institute and Metals Focus are going to have to talk away. They're going to have to change historical numbers again so they don't look like the fools that they are. So yes, I think absolutely keep an eye on solar. Look, let me show you this panel. Look at this. Holy crap. That's war right there. China Solar. This is all about silver. I think China has the perfect excuse to destroy the silver market and put all the silver shorts into the hospital for life. They're trying to save the world. Green energy, remember? Thank you, AOC. Now China can absolutely destroy the economic system by buying all the silver to use in their solar panels you have to put in the solar panels. If you're going to give them shit about polluting, you got to put in solar panels. Look at that jump. That is shocking. And every other country is increasing. The U.S. is kind of, it depends on how many gifts the government's going to give them. And Biden gave them a lot of gifts, but Trump's really not gonna. But the U.S. is a tiny part of this. I mean, it's almost nothing. It's irrelevant, the change in the U.S. And it's going to go up again, but it doesn't matter. It's all about China, India, Africa, Asia, every other place in the world. Something inside tells me this is all about silver, really. Because you cannot... I mean, they're talking about making... Here, let me show you another one. Look at this. China installed more than twice as much solar capacity in the first half of 2025 as the rest of the world combined. It's insane. And they're talking about in this report from Ember Energy. That's a pretty good one when it comes to reporting the real deal. They'll probably get taken out by somebody saying, you can't tell people this. This is all about silver. It's not about gigawatts of solar. But look at that. I mean, and then last 2 quarters of every year, the big quarters for silver, because they want to get it in before the end of the year because of budgets and all that. I mean, we could hit a terawatt this year, which would be just shocking to any silver investor because that's 500 million ounces, where the Silver Institute's telling us it's going to be like 220 million or something this year. More than double again. It's just, everybody should be saying, this is shocking information. Especially, look at that. That's war. China's saying, screw you, the rest of the world. Screw you, silver shorts. If you're going to keep the price so low, I'm going to use as much as possible. Great stuff. If you're a silver investor, God bless China, right? Anyway, look at this. Global solar manufacturing is outpacing deployments between 2024 and 2030. So the next 6 years. Manufacturing capacity could reach 7 terawatts of solar, mostly in China. Yet forecasts suggest only 3.5 will be installed. Do they even know what they're talking about? Each terawatt's going to be at least 500 to 600 million ounces of silver. We don't have it. We don't have the silver. And it's crazy to build overcapacity in solar manufacturing if you're not going to have any silver to use in them. Now, you can still make solar panels without silver, but they're maybe a tenth as good. And it's used in such small quantities, maybe you'll just keep using it. Who cares what the price is? I don't know. The world's changing, my friends. All right, those who don't believe me about what's going on, those who believe the jackasses over at the Silver Institute or Metals Focus or Jeffrey Christian, go talk to AI and find out the real scoop. Listen to this. To calculate the total amount of silver used in solar panel installation in 2025, given a total installed capacity of 980 gigawatts DC, I use the 980, that's the 67% growth from the 698. So 980, if it keeps, this growth keeps going, it looks like China's doing it, 980 will be the number by the end of the year. We need to use the average silver consumption per watt for the mix of solar panel technologies installed this year. Based on available data, the average silver usage across high-end, low-end, and low-end technologies, primarily PERC, TOPCon, with PERC dominating. That's not true. TOPCon dominates, really. TOPCon's got like 80% and uses more silver than PERC. Is approximately 15.5 milligrams per watt, or 15.5 grams per kilowatt. Step-by-step calculation goes through the whole calculation, and then I think this is low, but hey, we'll even go with just these numbers. Look what we're getting to here. Convert to grams, metric tons, convert metric tons to ounces. Right here, 488 million ounces will be used this year. The Silver Institute says it's going to be about 220. They are literally well more than, they're like 40% of what it really is. Final answer. The total amount of silver used in solar panel installations in 2025, based on a 980 gigawatt DC installed capacity, is approximately 15,190 metric tons, or roughly 488 million troy ounces. Go ahead, Jeff Christian and Silver Institute. Go ahead. Let's see what you got to say now. It is insane. And here's what they're claiming. First of all, here's 2025. As you can see, the green is TOPCon. TOPCon uses more silver than the PERC. PERC's pretty much gone. But that's like 80% of all silver that's going to be, all of the solar installations will be TOPCon, which makes sense. It's the latest and greatest technology. Not the latest and greatest, but it's the manufactured line. TOPCon's been around for a few years, yes, but it hasn't grown. The manufacturing lines, that's 24 and 25, has really expanded the capacity. because you invent something that's great. It takes 3 to 5 years to implement it into a manufacturing line. You need the capital, you need the planning, if you're revamping an old line or building a new line, all these things. And the Silver Institute and Metals Focus just says, oh yeah, something new was invented. Now we got to cut off 30%. It's insane what they've done. And they're basically telling you, PVE cost pressures accelerate, thrifting and substitution. Here are the 4 things they said, these have all been thrifted in and out. Average silver loadings dropped 20% in 2024 through the following measures. Laser enhanced contact. Now, all these are the real things. But all these, and I talked to Grok about this too, they aren't being installed overnight. It's going to take till 2030 to get the most of the large lines installed. But these guys, these jackasses who are trying to hide what's really going on from you, are saying they're instantly installed when people say, yeah, that's going to be great. Well, they didn't have the budget to revamp their line. They couldn't shut down their line, or they're building new lines. However they implement it, it takes years. So the whole argument falls apart into the gutter, where it belongs. They're gutter dwellers, I tell you. So look at this. Conservative, okay, let's just go with, let's say, okay, you're fine. You screwed over everybody last year with your 20% in 2024. Fine. This year they said it's going to further drop between 10 to 12%. All right? Fine. 10 to 12%. Yeah, it's not true, but let's just say 10 to 12% it drops. You got a problem because we're making 67% more solar panels than. So what is it going to be? A 50% growth in silver use? That's what you're saying right here. So is the Silver Institute and Metal Focus going to come out and say, we were a little off on our 220? Let's find out exactly how much they had estimated. They had estimated. They changed all the numbers, so we got to figure out what's real and what's fake. Right here. 2025, they estimated 195 million ounces. A growth of 1.5% over 2 years, which is ridiculous because the solar industry has more than doubled since then. They refuse to admit the obvious. So even in that old scenario where they're saying, well, 10 to 12% thrifting, but 67% growth, you're somewhere about 55%. So this should be close to 300 million ounces, and they have 195. So they're way off again for the millionth time. And those who don't know what I'm talking about, just look at the front page of Road to Ruta. All these red boxes are all the old numbers they changed to make it look like silver is not being used in solar as much as it really is. These guys, it's fake news. It's kind of criminal, if you ask me. If you're purposely trying to mislead the investor. I don't know. They haven't published their report. That doesn't come out till like April or something. We got a whole year to watch this jackass talk. But, yep. That's what I got. That's what I got for you. It's crazy. What do you do? Buy as much physical silver as possible. As far as deliveries right now, I just saw the today deliveries, which is another 5 million ounces. We're like 47 million ounces and moving. But there's still, like right here, it looks like 13 million ounces that still haven't been delivered, that have literally, they've been called for delivery, but they haven't been delivered yet. They got till the end of the month. Somebody doesn't have them, so they're going to have to go get 13 million ounces somewhere, as if China's not buying everyone. As if Elon doesn't know what the hell's going on. Elon better have a way to get physical silver. I think he does. I think he has been for a very long time playing this game. He's not an idiot. Does he watch the Road to Ruta? Hi, Elon. Give us a sign. Elon, on your X feed, put up something about silver. Maybe you just in a Silver Knights thing, and we'll get the gist. It is insane what's going on right now. Who are the silver shorts right now? Let's take a look at who's making deliveries. All right, Citibank They had to pony up about 3 million ounces. They're a criminal. They're long-term short in silver. They have the SLV short, I believe. Bank of America, J.P. Morgan. Remember that bank that's not supposed to be playing in these markets? 30 million ounces in their customer account. 30 million ounces stood for delivery. So more than half. And then Morgan Stanley, massive. They've never been up at 15, 16 million ounces, but that's what they got. That's what they had to deliver. And these are all related to the Bank of America subleases of the JP Morgan silver that we all know about. Interesting. Morgan Stanley's just not happy about that one. Wells Fargo has been delivering a lot. They're part of that lease game. Standard Chartered, okay. They took delivery of 5 million ounces. That means they'll probably be ponying that up in the next, probably the December contract. HSBC all year has been the short. And I believe they still run the hedge book for the U.S. Mint. So it might be the U.S. Mint shorting that. I don't know. It's so ugly out there. And who else we got? Macquarie is always kind of... Deutsche Bank took delivery of almost 5 million ounces. Now that's... Deutsche Bank hasn't been allowed to play in these markets. I don't know why all of a sudden they're taking delivery. They need people. They need silver. The game is falling apart. That's what I got for you. Again, go to roadtoroot.com if you want to find out about the military and read those reports on military silver. Had them a long time. I think David Morgan published them. I got them from David. Great stuff, though, because there is fights even within the government. So you know that Jeffrey Christian's full of shit and Kitco's fake news. So there you go. That's what I got for you. Hey, if you want to join the Road to Go to subscribe today, lots of talk going on about Very and the people who have cryptos, what would happen if the SEC had to or just did voluntarily reverse the ruling on Reggie, and all of a sudden he's free and has no more buddy sitting on his head, and then all of a sudden he says, by the way, I got the patent for DeFi in Japan and in the United States. What's going on? Why are there so many DeFi companies? What is the DeFi market cap? Probably $1 trillion or something like that. You got Very. Anyway, we're giving away one Very token with every subscription and renewal. So go check it out. roadtoroot.com. I'll talk to you.